everybody. I am Hounsi LaBelle Venus. A lot of you all know me as Queen Leilani Can, and I am here today with the beautiful Love Goddess, and we're going to be answering all of your burning questions, okay? Um, no, but honestly, thank you all for tuning in. This is another session of A Touch of Venus, and we're going to be basically answering questions that were submitted ahead of time so that you guys can get those answered. And I'll go ahead and let the Love Goddess introduce herself and tell you a little bit about her.
Okay, hello everyone. Good evening, afternoon, or morning, whatever time you're watching this. I am the Love Goddess of the Voodoo Institute and the Orisha Hoodoo Institute, as you all may know, also known as Omo Gulejo. And it is so nice to meet you all and be here again on A Touch of Venus, because you know we had so much fun the first time. Y'all enjoyed seeing us work together. Y'all know she's like my best friend, but y'all just come enjoy. Make sure that you keep submitting your questions, booking your love readings every Wednesday. I know I changed today, it's not Friday anymore, now it's Wednesday, but I'm ready to just get into it. Let's do this.
Yes, definitely. I know y'all love when we bring the tea. I know y'all love when we get together. Also, before we go ahead and get started, I want to tell you guys about some upcoming mischief that I've been conjuring. I really want you all to be on the lookout in the upcoming weeks. I am basically starting a series on magical makeup. It's called Makeup and Magic, and I'm going to be teaching you guys how to make your own enchanted lip gloss. It's going to be aphrodisiac, and we're going to have a lot of fun with that. So make sure that you are keeping your eyes out. I'll be circulating a flyer with a group link attached to it, okay? So let's go ahead and get started. As I said, we're just going to be answering questions. So this would be a good time for you all to go and get your wine, whatever you're drinking. And let's get started, okay? So someone wants to know, if you miss your prayer and meditation time, can you do it anytime? What would you have to say about that, Love Goddess?
I first would like to say that I'm so excited for this love lip gloss. Can't wait to see the kind of mischief I get into with it all. But to answer the question, just to kick things off, although we are assigned, so to speak, assigned prayer and meditation times, you can pray and meditate anytime. There's no time period that that I know of, but you're going to be told that you shouldn't pray at this time or you shouldn't be meditating at this time unless it's something personal, or it's like a personal taboo when it comes to your spirits and your ancestors about what they do and don't want you to be doing. But don't be discouraged if you miss the time that is originally assigned. It's spirit appreciates effort. So if you do miss it, it's not like they're going to sit here and drastically ridicule you for it or anything. It's more so about this practice takes a lot of discipline. So if you miss it, make sure that you make up for it another time.
Yeah, I would have to agree. I would have to agree with that. To the person who asked this question, also, one thing I would just like to say is give yourself some grace. We're humans, life changes, things come up. And something that the Love Goddess and I always like to say is that priestess don't mean perfect. Okay, there's going to be times where you mess up. There's going to be times where you misstep, and that's okay. Just remember to be kind to yourself. Now, if you book an ancestral life path reading with either of us, I don't know, if you include this in yours, but I do give you a time that your ancestors, recommend you praying and meditating at. But if you don't make that, that's okay. Like she said, it's the effort that matters. So anytime is a good time. I pray in the morning. I pray when I think about it. I meditate when I have the time, or sometimes even if you feel like you need it, like if you just got some bad news or if just things aren't going right, take a second, meditate, like pray. Always. I love to pray. I feel like we're all, anytime is a good time to be in communication with spirit. Like if you miss it, yeah, but you can always pick back up. So it's like we fall down, but we get up, or whatever the Donnie McClurkin song said. I love that song, by the way.
Okay, Reverend.
Period. Y'all know I be preaching out here, but we fall down, but we get up. I mean, if you miss your time, you can do it anytime. That's what I would say. Okay. We're gonna have fun on this next question.
I just read it too.
I can't wait to hear your sermon, but I'm gonna go ahead and read it. It says, what does it mean to have your left hand justified when it comes to hex work? Do you want to go first, or?
You can go first. I think I'm gonna save my commentary for last.
Okay. So what does it mean to have your left hand justified when it comes to hex work? I feel like this question alone could be an entire class. I mean, this question alone could be an entire class, honestly, because I see a lot of information circulating online and in these Facebook groups, and people say, I am karma, blah, blah, blah. My left hand doesn't need to be justified, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, when it comes to hex work. So let me explain to you what that means, right? Because we know that hex work is left-handed work, right? So when we talk about your left hand being justified, that means, first of all, authorization. Are you authorized to be hexing anyone? Do you have the permission of your ancestors or spiritual team to be doing this type of work anyway? So therefore, is it justified? Number two, are you hexing for sport? Are you hexing the cashier at Dillon's because she looked at you kind of crazy? Or is it justified, right? When we think about justification, I think that some of you all have heard me say this before, is like, let's say, for example, if somebody takes some money from you, logically for me as a priestess, I'm gonna make sure you don't get no more money or I'm gonna make sure you lose some. Do you curse their family for generations and generations and generations? Do you try to kill them? That's what we think about when we talk about justification. It's a part of our responsibility as conjurers, as root workers, as priestesses. Even in my practice of Haitian Vodou, it's our job to keep the balance, right? Are you keeping the balance? Are you in alignment? Like, what is your reasoning for? Are you communing with the spirit before doing these types of things? So that's what I will say initially. Love goddess.
Okay, so we'll just go ahead and get into this now. So you answered your own question. Justified means what? To be justified in what you're doing. And when you do something that is not justified, normally there are consequences that come behind it. You all hear us make jokes all the time. And I do mean all the time about, you don't ask the ancestors, they can't tell you no. This is not one of those situations where you shouldn't be asking first. We made jokes about love magic that, clearly you got the two love workers here on camera together. So obviously we're going to, say you don't have to ask all the time. But some of you take hex work, you attach your pride to it. And I'm going to explain to you what I mean when I say that. You want to justify your power when it comes to feeling like you have been smited or wronged. You need an ego check, and hopefully this is that. You are not karma. You're not. You do need justification when you do hex work. And if you are someone that is doing hex work often, that's probably why your life is shitty. I don't know one person that does hex work all the fucking time, and it's because they're happy. If you are doing magic in the areas of your life and doing shadow work meaning personal development, growth, things of that nature, there's no reason why hex work should be so needed in your life any fuck way. It's very rare when we actually have to lift our left hand against someone. Do you understand? They very rarely ever get that fucking close. So if anything, you should be doing protection work. Hex work is the emergency kind of situation. It's a, I need to get this done right the fuck now. Not a, your best friend don't want to be your friend no more, and now she a fake bitch and you want to hex her. That's a protection work situation. We need to teach a class on this because I've noticed this being a very big problem. Um, your left hand needs to be justified because when it comes to hurting people, okay, that's not priestly. I don't care what you say. Hurting people is not priestly. It's not. It's not. It's something that is very, very frowned upon when it comes to the role that we play here on earth. Because priests, as you heard Hounsi say, it's to be a priest is to keep the balance. That's our literal job. When we do hex work, it's because we're balancing out the scales. It's in no way attached to our ego, and I do mean that. So unless it's justified, I hope that you got enough in your ancestral treasury to pay for it, because it's going to come back. It may not hit you now. It may hit you 3 months from now. It may hit you a year from now. There's no telling what, especially if you kill somebody. Y'all, you don't have the power to kill anybody. I don't. Y'all been out here watching too much Eve's Bayou. You do not have the power to kill no motherfucking body. So stop that shit. If you do something that results in a loss of life, you can best believe spirit gonna take one in return. And you better hope it's not in the result of a child death, like childbirths. A lot of y'all be having miscarriages, all kinds of problems and shit. Check your karma, because you are not karma. But when you have bad karma, it's because you did something wrong. So that's my answer to the question. There's no reason in hell you should be doing all this hex work all the fucking time. I can't think of a logical reason why this would be necessary. And you're supposed to be a priest. Anybody that got to, if you a priest that got to do this much work, priests like us are looking, what the fuck you got going on? Like, we're gonna question it. We just assume there's something wrong with your morals and your values and things. That's where I stand on it. I'm tired of bitches thinking that they God.
Okay, beautifully said though. Beautifully said. Like, you, girl, you almost had me go get my Bible and be like, is it justified? Okay, is it just? She took us to church on that. But no, honestly, like, for real. Just to kind of, piggyback onto what she was saying, if you have a healthy relationship with spirit and with your ancestors, honest to God, you won't even have, especially if it's work, or if there's something that was done to you, right? Honest to God, like, if you have a healthy relationship with your ancestors, they're gonna pull up anyways, right? They're, majority of the time, you don't even need to do anything. You don't even need to do anything. You also have to remember that the best thing that you can do, first of all, is have a relationship with spirit, right? Because remember, like we always talk about, this is more than just about throwing hexes and doing work. So this is a relationship. This is a relationship, much like the love goddess and I have a relationship. This is a constant relationship with your ancestors and with spirit, right? Working with the Loa, that is a relationship. You know what I'm saying? So the best thing that you can do is, first of all, build that relationship, and then do protection work, right? Protection is, prayer is also a form of protection, talking and speaking to spirit. But then also you have to remember that protection is prevention work, baby. Protection is prevention. The ancestors are here to protect you as well. So if you, what you need to be doing all these hexes for? Like, look, even just to think about the amount of energy, right, that you have to exert to put out this type of work, I would just say definitely, reevaluate, make sure, like I said, ask, is it justified? We talk a lot about karma. If you follow any of us, or how people be like, how can I prevent my work from backfiring? Well, this is one of the ways that you can prevent work from backfiring, is, first of all, asking permission, getting a bird's eye view, talking to your spiritual team, talking to your ancestors to see if this work is even needed. What are the consequences? What's the outcome? Because like we often we joke around, but it's very serious. People's ancestors will tap back. So, it would behoove you to make sure, it would behoove you guys to make sure that the work is justified. Let's think smarter, not harder. Okay. So moving along. Oh, okay. This is another good question. Y'all came with the questions this time. Y'all are asking some really good questions. Okay. But what is box magic? Love Goddess, I'm gonna let you take the lead on that.
So I actually love box magic. It's a little time consuming, but I love box magic. And I'm teaching a class on box magic next week. My building fences class. I got them using boxes. So to start off, when we think about Vodou, Hoodoo, Ifa, magic in general, we think about as above, so below. So to build a box, when we build a box, y'all, we are creating a representation of how we want a certain situation or event in our life to play out. You heard me say that I'm teaching a class next week. It's on, when I say building fences, it's a protection magic workshop. I'm teaching these lovely ladies how to literally build fences around their homes. And I'm gonna have them create their home inside of a box. And then we're gonna put the box on the altar. If you're gonna get some fire, and we not setting the box on fire. When I say fire, I mean like candles and lamps and things, adding the fire and the light to the situation. And that's gonna help us to work it. But box magic is very powerful. A lot of y'all, now that I've said that, a lot of y'all have experienced box magic when it comes to love magic. That can be a tricky situation. I'd recommend it as long as you want something long term and don't forget that it exists. But box magic is very powerful. You have to, when it comes to doing magic, it's always it's preferred to be very versatile. So you have to know how to do things like build boxes. You have to know how to do things like, y'all be talking about all these goddamn jars. Nobody give a fuck about a jar, okay? But a jar will work if you do it properly, but we don't use no god. I've never made a damn jar, never. I'm just saying, not to bash nobody, but I ain't never made no goddamn jar. My ancestors would never go, what the fuck is it supposed to do? But I have made bottles. I'll get a bottle, and I literally have a paper doll right now that's sitting inside of a bottle, and it works. So, but there are a lot of other things. Speaking of Fugon, there you go.
I know, I was looking too.
Speaking of, but it all depends, like I said, as above, so below. So what are your intentions? Intentions mean a lot. So if you're gonna work with a box, I would recommend, I'll give y'all examples because I feel like it's a lot easier to just explain the situations where something like this would be used. So say for instance, if you want a job promotion, you build your office, right? And then you put little dolls in there to represent your coworkers, or specifically whoever it is that's responsible for giving you your promotion or your raise. And you put all these beautiful things in here that represent prosperity, like you stuff the dolls or with herbs, or you get little doll furniture. And well, I'm a little creative, so I take it and I put it up under the rug. Like grab a little doll rug and put it up under the desk of my boss or whoever it is. And so every time they sit down at their desk in real life, they're sitting on herbs inside of my dollhouse. Does that make sense? Like it's magic is really important, especially if you like magic like this is really important, especially if you cannot get to whoever it is that you have to work. I've even worked myself with box magic. When I was stressed, I created an entire dream box for myself where I made clouds out of cotton balls and put a little doll of myself on the inside and performed acupuncture on the doll and all kinds of things, and just stuck her in that box with a few other things with just all these affirmations and things that I wanted. So when I closed the box up, she would see it, right? And then on top of the box, I would put work on top of it. So it wasn't just work for that particular working. I didn't know everything that the box was going to be used for, but my ancestors ended up having me put protection work that I did later on top of the box. And they were like, yep, keep working yourself, keep working yourself. And it was an amazing way to work myself. Now I haven't built a box since then. Like I said, it's time consuming, but it was a really wonderful experience. Full of glitter and shimmer and all these wonderful things. But it was phenomenal. It was phenomenal. Be careful when you do things like that and make sure that you dispose of any effigy properly. Because you don't want something like that getting into the hands of the wrong person, especially if it represents you in such a personal way. But that's my take on box magic.
Wow, there's so much I could add. I just want to say we're really similar, because I was thinking of also giving an example of like creating like a euphoria box for yourself, with like some clouds and some glitter, stuff like that to improve your mood. But she explained it honestly so well. She took a lot of the words right out of my mouth. But something that I will say is that this is a very powerful form of magic. Working with effigies, especially spirit dolls, are very strong. It's very effective. So I will also recommend not doing this type of work unless you know what you're doing, in a sense. Also, just determining if this is the right thing. But I always joke because, in my conjure mentorship, we do teach you how to use a jar properly. It's a form of containment magic. But like there are, obviously better ways, I'll say, to get magic done, and boxes are, it's like, fuck a jar. Have you ever put somebody in a box? Whew, fuck a jar. If you, and this, of course, can be used for, as in everything, there's duality, right? There's the right-handed uses, and then there's the left-handed uses. Working with a box, as she said, it gives you the opportunity to create a scenario, right? And you can be extremely specific in creating this particular scenario. As she said, we believe, as above, so below, right? What manifests in the spiritual is also going to manifest in the physical, right? And that's the connection, or that's the science behind how this type of magic works. You can also create, this is something that I would recommend you guys do for self-improvement, because like the love goddess says, she has worked on herself. I would recommend using it as a tool to manifest. Make yourself a little dollhouse. Make yourself the mansion that you're going to be living in one day. Put all of the furniture, put the Fendi or whatever. For me, y'all know me, I'm going to have a pink G-Wagon. I'm manifesting it right now. I'm gonna have a pink G-Wagon one day. And me, I'm gonna put a little pink G-Wagon in the driveway of my mansion, so it can also be used as a tool to create and manifest. A lot of you who know me know that I do a similar thing with a vision board. I use a vision board as a tool to create a certain reality and change things for myself in my life. It's very, 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 very powerful. And I highly recommend it. I love working with boxes as well. Mm-hmm. Yes. That's all I'm going to say. So I'll recommend it. It's a great way to create scenarios. Okay. So here we're going to go ahead and move on to the next question. Okay. And that is, can you tell us about the power of dirt? I'll start off on that because I think some of you saw me. I think it was like a month ago or something. I was out collecting tornado dirt. I live in, I think it's called Tornado Alley or Valley, whatever they say, whatever they call it here. So I had the opportunity to go and collect dirt from a tornado, which I'll be sending the love goddess her very own tornado dirt. But when you think about dirt, it's extremely, extremely powerful, but it's quite simple when you think about it. Where is the dirt? The dirt absorbs the property of the area that it's in, right? So whenever you collect dirt from the crossroads, it has the energy of the crossroads, right? With the tornado dirt, what does a tornado do? Think about the properties of a tornado. Tornadoes are destructive. They break down. It's the energy of chaos, right? So that's also the energy that's in the dirt. Think about hospital dirt. There's also a certain duality to hospital dirt. You can heal, kill, you know what I'm saying? Put someone in the hospital, help them get out of the hospital. Dirt is just, it's very important. There's a lot of conversation around graveyard dirt. All I know is as a conjure woman, and especially a priestess, a Haitian voodoo, we always need to have graveyard dirt. Graveyard dirt is something that has so many properties. Something that I will also add about dirt is dirt is very sacred to me. Dirt is very wise. Dirt houses the bodies of our ancestors. Their power is in the dirt. You know what I'm saying? Like one day we'll be in the dirt. Dirt is ancient. Dirt is old, like dirt. Like this can actually be a whole class as well. Love goddess. Do you want to add to that as well?
Of course I do. I think you touched on some very important properties. I'm going to take y'all back to the goddamn magical correspondences. Earth, dirt is earth, okay? What does earth do? Ground, it creates a foundation. It puts logic into illogical situations. It does a lot of things. I love dirt. I love working with dirt. I have often used dirt in marriage magic to ground and create foundation for relationships. I've used dirt to sacrifice my prayers and my offerings to the spirits that we pray to. I don't want to tell y'all too much of why that would be important, but Hounsi knows what I'm talking about. And if you are a part of traditional mentorship, you know what we're referring to. But the earth is always important. When you think about the Orisha, they are literally foundations of nature. They create nature. So when you think about how to appease them, it can have a lot to do with damn dirt. Dirt's just really important. As you heard Hounsi say, it is sacred. It is literally what we walk on here on earth. It was the first thing created, if I'm not mistaken, besides the core. Dirt is observant. It sees everything that goes on in that particular area because dirt itself is not often removed, simply built over or on top of. It doesn't mean that it's no longer there. So think about the magical correspondences when you think about working with dirt. It's not as complicated as it sounds. It actually is extremely simple. And there's a science to everything, as Hugon would say. So think about just logical science when you think about dirt, what you're using it for, what you need it for, whether it's to uproot something or to bury it, whether it's to create foundation or to sit here and cause disruption and destruction in situations. It just all depends. Everybody only talks about graveyard dirt or bank dirt, shit like that. And not to be mean or disrespectful, but you gonna need more than goddamn, you can go outside and use regular dirt for the purposes that you sit here trying to use it for. So don't be in such a hurry to go and get something that just seems so taboo, like graveyard dirt. You need it to just have it around, but make sure that you know how to do magic before you go out of your way to go do things that you may not necessarily have to do. Like understanding dirt will show you I don't have to go all the way to the damn graveyard and risk my neck for graveyard dirt if the ancestors say I don't have to, right? If you know what dirt does, you are not going to go out of your way to go get bank dirt. You're just not going to. That's not me saying that you shouldn't, but it's just me making a point. And then also, priestess, I didn't even think about the fact that y'all only thinking about like dirt, like brown dirt. Go get some sand. Go get other foundations. Go get grass and things of that nature outside. Um, Go having sand, something that is connected by the ocean and touched by the ocean every day. And dirt next to the river if y'all are going to make your offerings properly, you know. There's just a bunch of different things that dirt should be used for. Using dirt from your own home inside of protection work. Like, well, it's the simplicity of things. I mean, that's why we love magic, because it's literally just not as hard as it seems if you know what you're doing. So, Princess, I think you touched on a lot of important things, especially when it comes to dirt being sacred. And protection. You should be burying shit outside of your house for protection inside the dirt to keep things from coming. Like, you can bury herbs outside, but bury things when you're done with workings, bury them outside. Now you know why you bury them outside. If you're doing work on a sneaky link, bury that shit so nobody finds out about it later. Like, you see the correlation that I'm talking about. So I hope that makes sense. But that's my take on dirt.
I appreciate that. Ashe. Ashe. Remember, like we said, consider where you're getting it from, why you need it, the properties of the dirt. Also understand that the mind is the limit. I love how you brought up getting, dirt. Well, not dirt, excuse me, like sand. Using things locally. Also remember, what I'll say when it comes to root work, it's about having a relationship with the land, because this is also one of the reasons why we use dirt in our mojo bags. We use, you know what I'm saying? Like, we use bank dirt in our money trees and things like that. You know what I'm saying? Or casino dirt. It's just, there's so much. We use the things that we have, right? Also, and I'm just going to tell you this because we can't go, on and on. We can't go on and on and on today. I don't want to keep y'all on here too long, but I will say that when collecting dirt, also remember to leave offerings. If something is given, something is taken. So just always keep that in mind, and check with your ancestors, of course, like the love goddess said, to see if you even need the dirt. Okay. All righty. So we have a couple of more. You got energy for a few more, or how you feeling?
So I specifically want to touch on not the next one. That one can probably be saved for an ancestral veneration class. But we can definitely answer like the last three though, or at least two more. So the next one after the one about water, do you want to read that one or do you want me?
Go ahead.
So one of you asked, how would you encourage someone to get into African traditional spirituality if they think it is demonic? And I really wanted to answer this question. And I particularly wanted to answer it because I've noticed this pattern lately, specifically very, very recently within the past month or so, and it's happened more than once, about this specifically being an issue amongst you all and your partners. This is very interesting. Let me explain something to you. Just because you love someone or you are infatuated with someone does not mean that they are meant to practice the same things that you practice, okay? I understand, believe me, we all go through, this is very normal. We all go through this process of wanting to put people on to the wonderfulness of spirit. Everybody ain't meant to be on this ride this lifetime. And I mean what I say, okay? Not everybody's meant to be on this ride this lifetime, and that's okay. A lot of these questions of this nature come from y'all trying to keep relationships and things together because it makes someone else uncomfortable. It's not always about encouraging them to do whatever it is you're doing. You should be working on whether or not they respect what you do. That's what's important. the respect is what you should always go after first. I'm not going to force my spouse or my partner to do what I do. Um, Being with me, he will understand why this is necessary. And obviously, he's going to see why it's something that is done and what it's for and all of those great things. But your job is to focus on your own spiritual journey. And I know a lot of y'all don't want to hear that, but it's the truth, because you would drive yourself crazy trying to get everyone to do this. They're just not supposed to. That's the God's honest truth. Not everyone can handle it. We know a lot more than we probably want to. We experience things in ways that some people may not be able to handle. And I mean that genuinely. And not everybody can bear the responsibility that comes behind something like this. I want you all to think about the fact that relationships end when people begin their spiritual journeys. Things change in very drastic ways. So do not push someone to do something just because it's something that you want them to do. And stop trying to get y'all's partners and shit into this, because I'm not gonna say it's a bad thing, because obviously it's not, but they don't need to be a part of what you're doing for them to respect what you're doing. They're not always going to understand it. That's very normal. But as long as they respect your traditions and your practices, then that's okay. Work on having little conversations. I sound like a marriage counselor. Work on having little conversations with them about why this is important to you, rather than all these benefits and all this other stuff. If they think it's demonic, I'm sorry, but you're gonna have to chalk it up to them being ignorant. And ignorant is not always a bad word. It's an honest word. It's just ignorant. They're unaware. So explaining to them why it is important to you could play a major part in what it is that you're doing, and helping them to understand why you do what you do. But take a step back and make sure that you're not just encouraging them to do something like this for your own benefit, and because it would make you more comfortable. So that is my 2 cents on the situation.
Ashe, Ashe, Ashe. I agree. I agree 100%. No tea, no shade, but it just reminds me of like those people that be coming up to the door and they'd be like, would you like to hear about our Lord and Savior? No, not today, not right now. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? It's just, it's different for everyone, right? And I genuinely know how it is, especially, me coming from the church. Like I said, I do have that background as well, and wanting to tell everybody about our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Okay, I remember being in that position, and even, especially when I started my journey into African traditional religions, wanting everybody around me, the ones that I loved and my friends, to have and share these experiences that I was having, and take part of these sacred traditions, and hear about these epiphanies that I was having. But something that you will hear us say all the time is that everybody can't come. Everybody can't come. Many are called, right? But only few were chosen. And it's just really important to, like she said, not force this upon anyone. It's kind of one of those things where you can lead a horse to the water, but you can't make it drink. You know what I'm saying? People have to be open, you know what I'm saying, to hearing and receiving, and you just really can't make anyone do anything, right? Like she said, if you're doing this to save your relationship and everything, I would definitely recommend just talking. Like, even being with my husband, like, he doesn't necessarily follow all of the traditions. He's a mini conjure man. He just don't know it yet. But at the same time, he has great respect for what I do. He knows the power of it. He knows that it is real, right? He has respect and reverence for the ancestors. But you're not going to see my husband out collecting graveyard dirt. You're not going to be seeing him doing candle work. You know what I mean? So, and that's okay. And that's okay. And that's how it's going to be sometimes, right? Just make sure, like she said, that there's respect and understanding. And that's all you need. Boo. That's all you need. Okay. Okay. So I will go ahead and start. We're going to do one more question. Okay. We'll do one more question. I'm going to pick, it's hard though. I like both of these. Let me see. I think we'll save that because we're always around. There's always questions, so we'll save some of these questions for next time. But the one that I want to answer is, can I do work on my children? Absolutely, you can. You can do work on your children, just like we do work for ourselves in our family. That's a part of being that's a part of the history in hoodoo. We did work for ourselves and we did work for our family. We did work to overcome oppression, right? Of course, divination. Divination is always very key. You want to talk to your ancestors, and also consider what are the needs, right? But I do protection work. I personally don't have any children of my own, but I do protection work over my nieces and my nephew. You know, I do protection work over my family. You know what I'm saying? So yes, you absolutely can. I've done healing work. I lay whole hands on my husband. Okay. And if I had kids, I'm laying hands on them too. Okay. They're getting baths. They're getting spiritual baths. Their heads are being anointed with oil. I'm laughing, but I'm being serious. Okay, I'm doing all that. Okay, I'm anointing their backpacks before they go to school. I'm making them spiritual baths when they're sick. I'm making them magical teas. Of course, you can do work on your children. The only thing that I would say about that is just like what kind of work. Is it needed? Do you need to do work? But of course, they're your family. They're your children. I would expect you to do work, especially for their well-being, their safety, their health. What would you say? Oh, actually, one thing I would like to add. I have a priestess who, a fellow friend, she even told me that she's done work on her daughter who was a teenager at the time. And they were having communication issues and, just going through the struggles of parenthood with her daughter. And so she made a little spirit doll of her daughter. And she worked on it until they got through, what it was that they were going through. So of course, I'm definitely going to say yes. But go ahead, love goddess.
I think that's beautiful. I actually really love that idea of let me try to figure out how I can fix this instead of trying to figure out how I can be the I'm not gonna say that. That's a real old Southern term. It's actually very racist. The head and word in charge. That's it. If y'all from the South, y'all done heard some old Black folks say that before, and I do not believe that it fixes any goddamn thing. I am a firm believer that it doesn't. So I completely agree with Priestess. She pretty much touched on it. Definitely doing work on your child. I will say, be careful and be mindful of what it is that you are doing. I personally, but y'all know I am the ego check priestess. I personally would not recommend that you do work to force a child to be obedient. When you think about problems that a child may, you need to think about what the problems with this child may actually be and get to the root of whatever it is that they have going on, instead of thinking about the outcome that you may necessarily want, because that's your child. It's not some random person that you're just doing work on. And the last thing that you want to do is take away anybody, especially your own child's free will. And just doing magic and slinging magic all the time. If it don't have no purpose behind it, you're gonna have to do it over and over and over again. So that's not something that I would recommend. Children's spirits are very sensitive. You have to be careful of the magic that you're doing. I love the idea of enchanting the backpacks. Our children are gonna be sick of us, y'all. They are going to be so tired of us. They're gonna be tired of having to wear these head wraps. They're gonna be tired of dressing it all white 1, 2, 3 days out the week. They are going to be tired of us, okay? And I'm perfectly fine with that. Be sick of me, baby, as long as you okay, I have personally done orange cleansings on children before. If you don't know what an orange cleansing is, you can go to the Voodoo Institute or the Orisha Hoodoo Institute and book an orange cleansing with me. And I'm gonna teach a class on y'all, but go book your orange cleansings. It's a very beautiful ritual that was gifted to me by Oshun. like the Orisha, not the priestess. The Orisha, not the priestess, because some of y'all get confused. But no, so and y'all know Oshun walks with me and she loves children. So we're always thinking about ways to help children. So by all means, definitely think about what your child may need. I would recommend, and I've said this before, when your child is maybe not making that grade of grades, figure out why, do work to help them focus. It's the little things, y'all, just the little things. Because as much as you want to believe a child's life is not hard, they are a human being that has not been here for that long. Anything that they're going to go through here is going to be fucking hard. Okay, so get out of your mind that they don't know what a hard life is. No, because you went through shit when you were a child. Why? Because you were a child going through your own personal life. So just be mindful. As a parent, be mindful. Um, Make sure that you are being a good listener. And I know that can be an issue for a lot of parents, especially in our community, but this is where we break those generational curses and how we help the next generation. You don't, well, I'm not going to say this for all of you, but many of you, in my experience, do not want to be the same kind of parent that your parent was to you. So magic helps. Magic is medicine. You've probably heard one of us somewhere in this school say that before. Magic is medicine. Definitely doing work on your children when they're sick. Protecting them from bullies, protecting them from stress. Children stress, y'all. They stress. They just don't know that it's stress sometimes, but they get anxious. And sometimes I can cause kids to act out when they may not be that happy, all kinds of things. So just be mindful. Figure out the kind of work that needs to be done. Children can be inspiration. They can teach you how to do something that you may know that you knew how to do before, but now you know how to do it because the ancestors love that baby. So now it's things help, guys. Things help. The child that I did the orange cleansing on, I did it on her because she was sick, and I could smell that she was sick. And I asked her mother for permission if I could do it, and she let me. And lo and behold, cut that orange open, sick. You see my point? So certain things are meant to be done on children, but always be mindful that the child spirit is already extremely connected to spirit, not far removed at all in the ways that adults are. So when you do magic on a child, be gentle. That's my advice. Be very gentle, be very clear and understanding about what you're doing and the outcome, and be mindful of how this may affect this child's spirit at the end of the day, because I'm sure Hounsi can agree with this. We have experienced some very intense and extreme things when it comes to spirit, especially when magical work itself is involved. You don't want your child having nightmares. You don't want them seeing things they don't need to see. Although the ancestors tend to be very gentle when it comes to children, you don't want to be the one that influences things like that. You see what I'm saying? Sometimes you may have to tell the ancestors, guys, back off a little because it may be a little too much. So just temper your hand. That's my recommendation when it comes to doing work on your children. But you should always be doing something for your babies. Like told a client recently, you should always be cleansing your home. Always. And it's not just for you, it's for your kids, because you're not the only person that lives there. And if there's all this chaotic energy, you know, maybe you got angry about something last week. Well, that anger is lingering around your house, and your children feel it. So you're angry, or at least you were angry, and now your children been nutting up for the past 3-4 goddamn days, and that's why your energy didn't dispersed. They're your seeds. They're gonna feel what you feel, whether you tell them about it or not. So just the little things are really, really important, which is part of the reason why it's so important to do work on the whole house, y'all. But that's my 2 cents on working your children. I highly recommend it. Just be mindful and know what you're doing. You know, your children are not guinea pigs or experimentations. You know what I mean? So yeah.
Ashe, Ashe, thank you, priestess. I think you made some extremely valid points there. You brought up a lot of good information. While you were talking, I also felt the need to always just state this for the record, like the information and things that we are giving you of course, are the ways of the ancestors, okay? And they are meant to heal. However, if you are experiencing, more serious problems, like if your kids are struggling mentally, I don't want this information to just solely replace talking, you know what I mean? Or counseling or therapy if needed, right? These things can be used in conjunction with, right? So I just always like to say that, okay? Um, but that's all of our questions for today. On a more serious note, y'all know I like to joke around, and when we get together, it's all fun and love, 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 love. But on a more serious note, I really hope that you guys take something from this talking session. I hope that at least you guys leave, like we used to say in the church, with just like a mustard seed or something, or a nugget that really sits with you and that really sticks with you and that helps improve your overall spiritual health and your spiritual practice. Okay. Of course, of course, of course, if you need either of us, we will be over at the Voodoo Institute. Okay, you could book readings, spiritual work. Both of us have a myriad of things coming out. As a love goddess says, she has, I don't know if you brought that up or if you want to talk about that before we get off of here, but she has a mentorship coming up in September that yes, you have to talk about it. She has a mentorship program that's coming up in September. And then, of course, for me, I want you all to be on the lookout for magic and makeup. Okay. Like I said a little bit earlier, we're going to be teaching you how to make an aphrodisiac, a magical tool. You'll also have the opportunity to purchase a supply kit so that you can do the work alongside me during the actual class. Okay. So, Love Goddess, would you like to tell them about your mentorship that you have coming up?
So very briefly, I'm actually glad that you said that because I kind of forgot. In September of this year, this fall, I am opening my doors to you all for a love and sex magic mentorship for Black women, which is going to be beautiful. We will talk about building luxury. We will talk about having fun with love and sex magic in particular, because I have not done this with you all yet, and I don't know why. So particularly for Black women, people don't understand that love for Black women is very different than it is for the rest of the world. And I want to teach you all how to keep things together, not only yourselves, but your relationships, your families, and all kinds of things. So I will be teaching you all how to do magic on your children and what it's for. I will be teaching you all how to do marriage work for your husbands and your relationships. I will be teaching you all how to do love work for yourselves. If you are the focus or the topic of discussion this season, then by all means. So definitely make sure that you are getting into mentorship. You will see the announcements and things for it. Mentorship is $600. And I know, look, don't complain about that, because $600 is not a lot of money for you to be sitting here building a life for yourself. It's just not, y'all. It's genuinely not. So, and I am very pleased to announce that the great and wonderful Hugonzo may be making appearances in some of these classes. So if you want to get taught by him and myself, make sure you join mentorship, because these classes will only be offered to those who are a part of mentorship. I will not be making them public. They are going in a vault, and that's where they will stay. So I can't wait to see you all there. If you need information, then get in contact with me. Or, if you can't find me, someone here at Black Special Network will be able to give you a way to get in contact with me, and I will see your messages if you have any questions or anything. There is a Discord intake group for those of you that want to ask me questions personally. It will be attached to the announcement for the mentorship. So just be on the lookout. We'll be making announcements in Facebook groups for Melanated Witchcraft, Black Women Manifest, and the Orisha Hoodoo Coven. And just a plethora of different things. So I'm actually really, really, really excited to bring this to you all and just watch everyone embrace their femininity and sexuality. Because like I said, this is for Black women. No men will be allowed. So I can't wait to see what you all do and to see how you grow after this 4-week experience, and just prosper. You better prosper, because if you don't, that means you ain't learned nothing. So yeah, I can't wait to see them.
Thank you for sharing. I'm super excited. Y'all know me. I'm gonna be up in there too. Okay. But I appreciate you all for watching. This was this week's episode of A Touch of Venus, and you all take care. Have a good week.